Welcome to the Side Hustlers Society podcast with your host, Elijah Bilel. This is where you can find out more about hustles that are best for you. And of course, make more money in the process. Elijah has been in the gig economy and freelance space for over 5 years and has done over 3,000 deliveries on Uber Eats. He's an Airbnb superhost, runs multiple YouTube channels, and is the author of the best-selling book, The Anatomy of Financial Success. It's his mission to empower people with the tools needed to be successful. Now, welcome your host, the king of side hustles, Elijah Bilel.
Okay, everyone. Welcome, my fellow side hustlers. I know some of y'all are tuning in from different places because we're streaming on all 3 channels. So we're streaming on the podcast, the Side Hustler Society, and also Financial Anatomy. But just so everyone knows, this will actually serve as the last episode of season 1 for the podcast. Then we'll be going into season 2, which I find that kind of fitting because we're going to be talking about VidSummit and my thoughts this year. For those of y'all that don't know, VidSummit is a summit basically for YouTubers and content creators to come in, learn a lot of information, and stay current on current events, as well as do a lot of networking. I made a video on VidSummit reviewing my experience last year because this is my second time going, and this will kind of tune into how I decided to do this show. So we got a little history that we're going to cover. I'm going to give my general thoughts, my pros, my cons, my feedback, and then we got a panel that we kind of have in the background. I'm looking forward to bringing them on. So let me go ahead and get started. So last year, as y'all know, they were watching Financial Anatomy. I made a video review on VidSummit, kind of giving my feedback on the experience. And that video did relatively okay on Financial Anatomy last year. But since I like VidSummit and since it's in my backyard of Dallas this time around, I'm going to go again this year in 2024. But apparently, the months leading up to VidSummit, it started trickling up in views in terms of that video. And I actually didn't notice. It kind of slid in under my radar. So I'm at VidSummit, right? And I'm sitting there, talking to friends. This was the first day of VidSummit. So I'm talking, we bumped into Roberto Blake, and we got to talking. And someone walked up to me like, "Hey, you're Elijah. Like, I recognize you from your VidSummit video. That was a good job. You kind of convinced me to come out." I was like, "Oh, wow, that's badass. I'm very glad I was able to inspire you to come out." Then the next day, it happened again. And then a few hours after that, I went to talk to David, who's actually in the background. We'll be bringing him on pretty soon. And he was talking to someone else named Gregory. And this woman named Susan, which I'm going to give her a shout out. In fact, let's go ahead and pull up her channel real quick because I do want to give her a shout out because I'm going to show y'all some footage. I'm going to find that photo in a sec. But Gregory actually managed to get this in an interview because she walked up and she said, "Hey, I saw your video too. And after seeing your video, I watched it twice. And then a friend of mine sent your video to me and I said, hey, I already watched it." So we're going to pull that footage up real quick because this plays a role into why I decided to actually do this review.
All right, so I want to show you guys the power of YouTube. I'm here at VidSummit. I have got Elijah. Elijah, what was your channel again?
Okay, well, specifically Financial Anatomy, where we talk about personal finance, budgeting, and how to build your credit up.
Financial credit and building your budget. Okay, and then we have Travel Round Susie here, who this is her first time at VidSummit. I want them to tell you their story because this is amazing. This is the power of YouTube. So, Susie here, go ahead and tell us.
Okay, so 3 weeks ago, I got gifted a ticket to come to VidSummit, and I had to do fast research on what to expect, the best way to come to VidSummit to get the most out of your money. And I Googled everything I could come up with. And I found a channel that was doing takeaways on VidSummit and what he would do when he comes next time, because VidSummit was in his backyard. And so I watched it not only once, but twice. And then about 3 days later, my girlfriend sent me his same video. And I was like, I've already watched his video. And today, I get to meet him.
In the flesh. And now, the other side of the story.
Right. So yeah, I originally made that video mainly because when I typed in VidSummit, I was thinking about making a review on my experience. I didn't see like any videos on it. I was like, whoa, this is a crime. How is no one on YouTube talking about the summit that many YouTubers and content creators are going to be at that had such a big influence? So I decided to make a video about my experience, takeaways, some things I would do different since I know the format of VidSummit, and just give some feedback. And that video actually was pretty popular when I made it after VidSummit last year. But apparently it's kind of research to help people do research on if they want to come this year. And I'm glad that I was able to inspire more creators, such as Susie, to come out.
And there you have it, folks. You could be influencing someone to have their first experience that helps them to unlock the person that they're meant to be in the world. But you just let imposter syndrome win by not hitting record. So hit record. Be you. Broadcast what it is that you think about. It's put on your heart for a reason. The power of YouTube right here in action. Oh, show them the video. The video on your phone. Like, just so you know we're not making this up. And show them the date. This is so crazy. Like, we're standing there at the entrance over there, and I call Susie over because I met her yesterday. And the odds that I'm talking to the person, look, do you see? Can camera see? Yes.
You can see right there, Thursday, July 25th.
And it is August. No, we're in September.
September.
It's September 4th today. Guys, hit record. Broadcast you. That's what YouTube is for. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so let's go ahead and give a shout out to Gregory's channel. He's the one who actually did the interview. He shot me the footage so I could use it in this live stream, but be sure to check out Gregory's channel. For the audio listeners, it's Gregory G-Wiz-Rootledge. And he can correct me if I butchered that once he gets on the stream. But if you are listening in, I will say this will be a show. You're going to want to check the visuals out. So type in the Side Hustler Society on YouTube. We're streaming on both channels, and you'll be able to check out some of these visuals. If you can join us live and on video, you'll get the most value. So after hearing that and the big impact I had on people, I decided, you know what, I owe it to everyone to go ahead and make another review on it and to give people that have been supportive of these videos a huge shout out. So let's real quickly go over my pros and cons. Then we're going to bring the panel up because the panel is getting kind of big back here. So first pro is obviously the networking. So I got much more networking done this year than last year. But if you remember in my last video, I said I was going to live in those hallways and I would only spend like maybe 25% of the time at the actual presentations. I wasn't lying. I mean, my season 2, which is going to be focused on lead generation for freelancers, I already have like 7 podcast guests and I've recorded 2 shows. So that's awesome. And most of them came from VidSummit. So that's the networking in play. As far as another pro, obviously the information. Now, to be honest, the information, you can watch that on the replays. But, you know, you could also sit in and watch them too. Also, if there's people you want to meet in the meantime, you could meet them. In terms of my favorite presentation, I will say, aside from Roberto Blake's presentation, which I got to see him again at VidSummit, was pretty awesome. That's a picture of me and him. And he just knows so much about everything. Like we talk a lot on a regular basis, but it doesn't change in person. But yeah, I would say, aside from his presentation, the one on email marketing, I can't pronounce the guy's name, but his first name is Jay. I would check that out because it really plays a role in you owning the relationship between you and your audience. Because these platforms are awesome, but what if something happens? You want to own that relationship. And if your YouTube channel gets shut down, your subscribers go with it. Nothing you can do about it. But if you have them on your email list, then you can do something with that. He shows great techniques on how to build that and how to maintain it. That's my favorite presentation that I watched. As far as the next pro, sponsorships. So I actually am in talks with I'm not going to say the app because I haven't cleared it to say the app yet with the sponsor, but it's a banking app that will allow creators to cash out their AdSense early, in addition to just being a normal banking app. And it kind of reminds me of Creative Juice in that way. So if everything checks out, I'll be reviewing it on Financial Anatomy, and we'll be in talks of them sponsoring some videos on the channel. That came from VidSummit. That's awesome. And another pro is they had an after party, and I'll pull up some video footage later because I don't have it on me, but they had an after party and people were getting down. There was no after party last time. In my opinion, the music was too fruity for my taste, but I like the concept of an after party. All right, let's go ahead and keep that going. That's a pro. Now let's go ahead and get into the cons because, I still do have some cons. I still think VidSummit would be best as a 4-day event, like I said in the last video. Now realize, look, I've been part of the making of events like this. I used to be on the board of the Black Vegetarian Society of Texas. We hosted an event called Meet Out in a very big building, and I know it takes a lot of behind the scenes just to add 1 day to an event. So I might get some pushback from this, but if they added another day and they would need to charge more, I would be fine with that because I've realized what it means. The reason I think it should be a 4-day event, there's not much of an interval between workshops and presentations, so you have to choose to pick between the presentations, watching them, or the networking. Where sometimes other conferences, they do have, since they're spread out more, they have an extra day, like a 4-day event. There are just some intervals of 30 minutes to an hour where nothing is going on, so you can just network in the hallways, so you can catch more of the presentations. But like I said, there may be some behind the scenes things that are stopping them from doing that, but that's just my general feedback. Y'all see me looking to the right, I'm looking at my notes, so don't butcher me in the comments, okay? I don't want to miss nothing, okay? Another con, I'm going to say this because some people are going to criticize me if I don't say it. There are people that I expected to be there that weren't there this year. The most notable person being Mr. Beast, but even just people that weren't speakers, but they were at the last VidSummit, like Pat Flynn. I didn't meet him in person, but I saw him from a distance. And I was going to go meet him, but I ended up getting wrapped up in the conversation. And then that lasted 15 minutes. And I looked up and he was gone. So, that's unfortunate. But yeah, there are some people that I thought would be there that just weren't there from a speaker perspective and just people in the creator economy, I'll say environment or space. Let's see, next, no vegan options. So I'm going to keep saying this. Where are the vegan options? Y'all know I've been a vegan for 12 years, but they offer some food. But the thing is, these conferences, a lot of them are starting to incorporate vegan options. So let's go ahead and get on trend, add the vegan options. And I'm not saying you have to provide them. They have food trucks outside. And with them having food trucks outside, one of them could easily be vegan. I'm the head of a vegan meetup group called the Veggie Outers. I have vegan restaurant owners on speed dial. So if y'all need trucks, holla at your board. I can hook you up. And lastly, some of the best presentations, based on what I'm seeing in the replays and the schedule, they happen very early in like day 2 and day 3. I found that kind of weird. Like, and this is subjective, but a lot of times you'll have the big presentations that everyone is there for, and those will be in the middle of the day. But some of them, like when Roberto and Nick Nimmons did their collaboration presentation, it was like early, like at 8 o'clock. I ended up missing that because there was an accident on my way to the summit, so I got stuck in traffic and I ended up missing it. Now I can catch the replay, but it is one of those things that just makes you wonder why wasn't something like that put closer to the middle of the day so they can maximize the attendees. But with that being said, I think I've actually exhausted my pros and cons. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and hit y'all with see if it's in the back here. We're gonna hit y'all with my book, The Anatomy of Financial Success, so you can learn more about it. Then we're gonna bring the panel up to discuss more of VidSummit. But before we do that, let's hit y'all with this.
Is your fear of personal finance holding you back from going after what you want? What if I told you there was a way to get rid of your insecurities? Every person has their own way of making money, budgeting style, and a way of spending money. The key to financial success is the ability to use the right styles for you that ensure success. So, rather than making you focus on avoiding your emotions, this book focuses on empowering them and using them to achieve what you want. Learn how to build and increase the income streams you desire. Understand how to budget your money in a way that you are always moving forward financially. Know how to remove stress from spending money by knowing what works best for your personality. Learn methods to effectively evaluate a financial opportunity within minutes to see if it's right for you. The Anatomy of Financial Success, the key to building financial confidence and destroying financial insecurity by Elijah Bilel. Buy now, available on paperback and ebook.
Okay, y'all have seen it. The link to The Anatomy of Financial Success is in the description. So we got a host of panel guests. So let's go ahead and bring them on. Let's see, what would be the best? I think this is the best format. But can everyone hear everyone?
Yes.
All right, John, I hear you. Gregory, how about you? I think you're muted. Can you hear me?
So I can't tell if I can hear you from. I feel like I'm hearing you from you. Oh, that's what it is.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. I had to allow sound because this is the first time I've used StreamYard on this computer. Got it.
Hey, trust me, I know the feeling. What is the term that lead attorney use? Struggle streaming. I think we all been there at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Kelly, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Ooh, cool. So yeah, we got maybe 5 minutes. I got a few other people that say they do want to join us, but while we're waiting for them, how are y'all doing today?
Doing great. Doing fantastic today, honestly.
It's so good to see these faces again.
Yeah. It is.
Right.
Y'all for years now after attending the events.
Yeah.
Next year. And
Dion,
I hope they follow through with that with request for the extra day. That definitely sounds like a good idea for sure to incorporate. Like I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Because that way you won't have to pick so much between, I really want to sit down and watch these presentations, or I really want to get this networking in. Well, you'll still have to pick, but maybe it'll be more 60-40 as opposed to like 80-20. Like as it stands, you might be able to catch 20% of those bad boys, but most of the other stuff will be networking or vice versa. You really got to kind of pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it also could have been scheduled in a way, like you said, to where the most important events came at a time where it could be maximum attendance.
Yeah,
and not at the morning, because I know you said about 75% of the time you was in the hallway, about 80% of the time I was in the hallway, and I know I'm gonna catch up on these replays and take notes on them to try to soak everything I can for sure.
Yeah, I spend at least 95% in the hallways, and just wanted to make. I even set my water down in one room to watch a presentation that I planned to watch, and watch the people I set it down next to walk out, and I was like, "Is it over already?"
Right. Kelly, you over there like quiet? Like, how you feeling? What are your thoughts?
Oh no, I was thinking that I didn't know you liked the after party so much. And all the music, what do you call it, fruity?
Yeah,
early.
Yeah, I wasn't the only one that shared that opinion. But I saw David kind of nodding in the back room when I brought that up. He's like, "Yeah, that stuff was fruity." But see, Dion laughing because he probably agree with me.
Yeah.
moving my feet. For a sec, they started playing Party Up by DMX for like 60 seconds. I started feeling the energy rise. I was thinking about getting on there. Then they swapped it to something else, back to the fruity music. And I just like,
Oh yeah, dance. Like, yeah.
I went on and got on the floor and just kind of stood there.
Yeah.
A third person here literally was pulling me on the dance floor. I'm not gonna name any names, but you know who you are.
I went to the I ended up going to the balcony, and my friend Xander, he had a drone, and so he was able to do a drone shot of the whole balcony of all the people just partying and having a good time. It was awesome. That's where I was for most of the time, on the second floor.
Okay.
And of course, I was on the dance floor being fruity.
Man, I'm not mad at you. You were getting it in. I remember seeing you like you were on the dance floor for a good minute too.
Yeah. I was reminded I was not 20 years old. I'm in fact 40.
Wait, you're 40? You don't look 40, man. You look younger.
Yeah.
You know that black don't crack.
Yeah. 28, 32.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Right.
I know you had dressed to impress though for the after party for sure. You had the whole tux. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. I think he is one of the few people in a suit on there. And yeah.
I feel like everybody started to get out once I got out because they were like, pink suit dudes out there. Who's out there in the suit? I can definitely be out.
You may actually have started the trend because when we got there, the dance floor was kind of like, I don't want to say vacant, but every now and then someone would pop out, do their thing, and leave. But when you got on there, people, when they came, they actually stayed. So you might have actually started the trend, now that I think about it.
Staying trend. Didn't work for all people, but most.
I tried. You know what got me on the dance floor is I was on the second floor looking down, and they started doing a train going in circles. I was like, what is that? I was like, let me go correct this. This is
wow. You know what? Since we're talking about it, I'm pulling up the footage of some not the dance floor, but just so people can see like what we're talking about, like how packed it was.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna pull that up in a sec.
You took footage?
Yeah. Not of the dancing, but of like the crowd.
Just the overall.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So no incriminating evidence.
No. You can relax.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
It's growing. This is great.
Hey, Yuli. So
the engineer was having tons of technical issues, which is pretty hilarious.
Okay. I'm actually.
I didn't have anything set up, so it was a pain.
You're not alone, Yuli. I couldn't hear for like the first 5 minutes.
The day.
That's why we need Dejan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got that audio engineering stuff on lockdown.
Yeah, I got it on this end.
Yeah. So what we can do, is this it? Yeah, this is it. So let me upload this real quick so people can get a visual of what we're talking about. Because they, like I said, no incriminating evidence, but like they can actually see the after party and how many people was in there. And it was, kind of live. And it's not even that long of a clip. Let's see what we got.
Oh, that's it.
Some visuals to what we're talking about.
A very colorful scene for sure. Yeah, the lighting's going crazy.
I will say this: the lighting was pretty smooth. I'll give him that.
And this now the only thing I could say would have really made it on point is if the DJ knew the room, because the speakers was on point and the lighting was on point. So like that's all you need for real, and people are gonna build the vibe from there. But it was a lot of uncalled throwbacks.
Well, I'll say this, and then we'll kind of hop into like talking about the whole summit.
Oh yeah.
But I saw people going up to the DJ, and I'm assuming they're kind of asking, "Hey, can you play this? Can you change that?" They were doing it wrong. Look, my barber's the DJ. This is how you do it. If you're gonna have a DJ request, you go there with some bread. Hey, look, I would really love it if you played, this genre of music. And depending on how they looking, you might need to add another bill to that. And if they're not going to flinch, then there's nothing they can do. But they were walking up and they weren't offering anything, so I guarantee you that's why nothing changed. That end, like, hey, if you want to play something that's not sanctioned by VidSummit, I'd rather keep it. But there's plenty of stuff that's clean that they could have played. They probably could have been persuaded into playing.
Yeah, that's true. I did see some families from VidSummit like dancing on the floor and stuff, so I could understand the selection, but it was still, like you said, clean versions would have did it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a clean version of Party Up. Like they turned it off once it is about to start getting real. But they could have just played the clean version.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. But we can go ahead and
I'll just say something about that party. That is the most diverse dance floor you will ever see in the history of clubs. Like,
yes,
that's true.
You had like a 17-year-old, an 8-year-old, an old lady that's like 70, a 50-year-old, a guy with a baby throwing him up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
You had some guys with book bags. I mean, it was also the friendliest and the one with like the least chance of ever having like some negative like craziness erupt.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
True. Yeah, it was nice.
No, Yuli, Gregory said the same thing at the Veggiatas meetup that we were at in terms of that diverse. That's kind of interesting that y'all both said that. It's true though. It is true.
I just dropped some footage in our folder.
Like, when have you ever?
Oh, sorry. I dropped some footage in our folder of the dance floor itself while I was there.
I said, when have you ever seen somebody on a dance floor in a club with a book bag on? I said, you only see that with YouTubers and poker players who are like always in like sweats and, and book bags.
Yeah.
Players, wow.
Or babies on the dance floor. Never seen that.
Yeah, that was a sight to behold.
Yeah.
A core memory for the baby right there, for sure.
Right?
Yeah. He's going to remember that for the rest of his life.
Yeah. I'll probably clip this segment and just call it VidSummit After Party Commentary. Yeah, that perform. And I'll check out that footage that Gregory sent me and maybe incorporate that too.
Yeah, I'd never seen so many people doing the fish.
Among other things.
I started I tried to start a Soul Train line and it turned into the dance floor circle. I was like, close enough.
Yeah.
Or some people attempting to do the moonwalk, right?
Attempted. And then I moonwalked myself.
Jackson in there for sex. I guess they got inspired to do it, huh? All right. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start talking about the whole summit because I know some people are like, hey, we didn't heard about the after party, so let's get into like some of the other stuff. So what we can do is everyone that's on the top row, then the bottom row, like let's go to the left, but I'll ask a question and then you can just kind of answer that question. Then we'll move on to the next person, starting with Jijan.
Okay.
And, so I would say the first question is, what was your favorite thing about VidSummit, like just in general?
I would say the networking opportunity that really gave me a +10 on the event as a whole, because you might see these people on like social media or whatnot and reach out to them via DM or email, and that's way different than seeing them in the flesh live and just sparking up a conversation maybe about their outfit, or you see like you, Elijah, for example, she saw your video and that sparked a conversation for y'all to just instantly connect. Right. And then meeting her with G-Wiz, that's content right there, just off rip. Now imagine if she reached out to you via email and then somehow G-Wiz got involved. Like, that's way different than how we were able to just connect as a whole at the event, and with the party they threw on the first day. That was a big networking event for sure. It got a lot of people to connect. Got some podcast footage done. Did a lot of things like that. Me overall, I love the networking opportunity and the seminars as well. I really like Daryl Eves' seminar in particular. I feel like he really went in depth on developing your channel, finding your target audience, making videos for your target audience, and just getting your audience to interact and engage with your content for sure.
Okay. I did pull up Susie's channel so that people can see, but her channel was Travel Around Susie. She has content about the process of living out of a van and how to make various changes with that lifestyle. And with that lifestyle comes the ability to be nomadic. So definitely check her stuff out. Very interesting concept. It's in a niche that a lot of people just wouldn't be willing to do. But if you take that leap and you're willing to do it, hey, you can literally fill that niche. You're not going to find that many people that's going to be trying to do something like that.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
That
so we can.
Excuse me. Sorry for cutting you off, but I also met someone else who did like a really specific niche content where she was doing challenges like hopping in a toy car and driving 500 miles. Like, yeah, like from one state to the next. And she said that video took around 2 months. And my thing is like, wow, the dedication that somebody might have to do that. But like you say, a specific niche and just finding that. And that's what helped her channel grow in her. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That sounds like pretty similar. It's like a Mr. Beast take on a particular niche, but that video can get you the momentum you need to just keep continuing making videos about that niche. And it doesn't have to be so viral potential like that one. That could just be the conduit to get them there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay. So Kelly, what was your favorite thing about VidSummit this year?
Well, based on that specific question, my favorite thing was actually doing the interview with G Wiz. And it was my favorite thing just because I have never done anything so spontaneous and unscripted before. And so I think it really gave me confidence to try to think of another idea to do and just to implement. And I think one thing that VidSummit does is that it's really a good vehicle to build some sort of like personal momentum, right? You do something that you're afraid to do, if that's talking to Jenny Hoyos or just someone really big, right? And because you did that, you feel like you could do more. And I think that's part of the magic of VidSummit, is that it brings you out of your comfort zone and it makes you think, what's the next thing that I could do to build me out, to bring me out of my comfort zone, and to just make me feel like so proud of myself and empowered.
Nice. Gee whiz, you got something to say in that regard?
I love that. I try to bring people out of their comfort zones because I know what it's like to be stuck there. And just that momentum that you build by just doing it. Like, it was taking me out of my comfort zone to bring my mic and do spontaneous interviews. But I'm glad that I had an impact on you and that you can now do what you need to do to get your love letter for books out to the world, because like, I'm looking for more content on your page. I'm sure there's people looking for more content on my page, but I think the fear sits between us and our audience, and we just got to melt that away so our people can get exactly what they need.
Beautiful. So Yuli, what was your favorite thing about VidSummit this year?
I don't know if I can beat that. That was very poetic. I will say she was very excited. She's like, oh. And so I will second that. She definitely was excited. It was really nice to see her out of her comfort zone. Definitely, she like super beat me at that this time around. So I think the one obviously major thing that's kind of nice about it is that, yes, I have like a PhD in like YouTube, right? Like from watching the Nick Nimmons and Roberto Blakes but the seminars are still nice, because it's not like they're all up there just talking about whatever they want. They make it a point to have everybody talk about a different aspect that is helpful and that we all at some point or another need to, focus on and learn about. So in my case, I really appreciated the Jay Clouse, where he went into really in depth, like every sentence was super valuable about memberships. and how he got that going and all that. So that was really, really good. But the other thing I would say that this year that I noticed is that I feel like a lot more people were focusing more, maybe because it's, their second or third time. And so they were focusing more on the networking aspect of it. And I don't know if it was me, but to me, it seemed like last year was our first year. And to me, this year seemed like people were way more willing to like go up to you and just say, hey, so what's your channel about? And just start randomly talking to you. And I think that that is really, really neat, because I feel like that's where you really like build the, that personal, like Kelly and everyone else, that like you build that personal relationship. It really creates this like excitement and momentum and motivation. So.
Okay. You actually reminded me to bring up something that I forgot. Another big plus this year was how they handled registration. Last year, there was a line on top of a line on top of a line on top of a line that went outside the door until they figured stuff out. I was in line at least for like 90 minutes at the very minimum. That wasn't so bad because the whole purpose of that registration day is to network. So here you are stuck in the line. Of course, you're going to talk to the people around you. But this year, I was in line for like 3 minutes, and that was it. Got my stuff, and then I was free to roam the hallways as I pleased to interact with everyone, as opposed to, that person, 15 people in front of me, I wouldn't mind talking to him or her, but I don't want to lose my place in line. So, yeah, that was a big pro for this year. It was definitely a more streamlined in that regard. So,
I'm glad they had it like that last year, because that's how you and Kelly met.
I was gonna say
we met in line.
Like we would never have met without registration last year.
That's true. Even though she keeps diminishing her role, Yuli and me are still the co-founders of our little VidSummit crew.
That's true.
Not really, because that's it. You left. We had that. We were in that extra silly line, and you left, and that's it. I was not gonna see you again. Probably, maybe I would have bumped into you, but when I came out of doing my thing, you guys had already created a little crew, so that was cool. So I had part in it.
It's easier to create a crew when you're stuck there and you're waiting for food. We didn't know we would be stuck for an hour and a half. And here we are 1 year later, voluntarily stuck on supporting Elijah on his live stream.
How about we take out the word stuck and keep that same? That'd be awesome.
Philosophical.
I was going to say, we are voluntarily connected.
I like that. I like that better. Let's roll with G Wiz's terminology. Speaking of you, what was your favorite thing in VidSummit?
Man, I have to say, my favorite thing anywhere I go is the people. And I know that your network is literally your net worth. You can get rich by changing the people you hang around, not just rich in money, but rich in connections, rich in education, rich in opportunities. There's so much that can come from, like you said, hanging out in the hallways. And Dijon mentioned the toy car girl. I want to say, just getting to know so many YouTubers that are doing so many things that I didn't think I could do. Like there's a guy I met, Lucas Decker. One channel he plays with yo-yos. The other channel he builds Legos. The most amazing videos about Legos, like the creativity was out of this world. There was, I don't have time. I got to go live myself and talk about all of the people that I met, because I met so many people that did so many niche things, but I felt bad not going to the sessions. And then I heard there was a replay and I was like, all right, well, if there's a replay, I'm definitely going to do my butterfly, social butterfly thing where I just connect as many people and connect with as many people as I can. And I do not have any regrets. So being able to meet so many people. And I think the thing that in any networking event that always blows my mind is no matter what level of where I've got in the world, we kind of look up to people and think they have arrived because they have some sort of status. So like 2 million subscribers, 20 million subscribers, 50 million subscribers, and they still feel that human imposter syndrome, if you will, that they're still not, they still haven't arrived. they're still not there. They still don't, because they're not this person. And so knowing that no matter where you go, people still feel human. They still feel not inadequate, but they still feel like they're not where they want to be. And everyone I met there was humble enough to have a conversation with me, no matter how many subscribers they had. And you can't get that. Like if I was to, like Dijon said, if I was to reach out to any of these people in DM, it would not be the same. Like you can't read energy, you can't read intention, but in person, you stand next to someone, you can pretty much tell if they have negative intentions or, they're just, you can tell it's just an energy thing. I think it was being in the room with the energy of the people doing the things that you want to do and realizing that the only thing standing between you and the YouTube that you want to grow is your fear. Because there are people that are out there doing it and making it. And the only difference is because they keep showing up for their audience. So it was a big learning thing for me. I'm a lot more inspired to show up for my audience now. What was my other favorite thing was the location was actually in Dallas this time. Because I've traveled for a lot of conferences in the last 6 months. I'll actually be in Florida next week for a mastermind with Myron Golden. And it's so much better when I can just drive there. So that's a plus for me. And I hear it's going to be there again next year. So yeah.
Hey, as a local myself, I'm feeling that.
Yeah. And to meet people like Kelly and Dijon and yourself, I didn't get to talk to you as much, Yuli, but I remember you. We met towards the very end. And just these are connections that we'll be able to do things together here in the coming months that we wouldn't have been able to do had we not met each other. And to hear about your story, Elijah and Kelly, like when I heard that y'all came to the last one and now you're still connected, that gave me hope because now I have connections. It's one thing, and I'll shut up after this. One thing that I found out was content creation, much like any other niche field, is very lonely. And so there's no one to talk to about what you do because not many people do it. And so when you find a community of people doing the same thing as you, it's easier to have those conversations like, hey, I'm struggling with this. And they know exactly what you're talking about. That's it.
Oh, valid points. What did you press? Was that your equivalent of a mic drop?
That's what that was.
Yep. Okay. I like that.
Elijah, I think Kelly should probably add to that what we were talking about a few minutes ago about how neat it was to be at this place with everyone talking about like their passions. You can say it better, but it basically tags on to what he just mentioned, how incredible it was to talk to all these people about different things.
Oh yes, one thing I got out of it, and I think everyone would agree, is I really admire quirkiness, but I forgot how much I admired it because people ask questions at VidSummit like, what's your dream? What do you really care about if you can make money about anything? And then you look around and people do make a lot of money doing what they truly love. So when I go back from that world, I always just think about like how magical it is to talk about like what you really care about and how you could do more of that and what excites you. And just having those type of conversations, I think coming away from it, like I came back and I was like, okay, I need to do more of what excites me because it's such a good feeling, but it actually like inspires you to take more action. Also because you make such wonderful friends and all we talk about is like, what do you really care about in this world? What value do you want to bring? At least that's my take. So feel free to agree or disagree.
I don't think anyone would disagree. Am I right? Everyone agrees, right?
I agree. 100%. 100%. I love being able to talk about my passions in a room full of people who also have their things that they're very passionate about. And we're all just connecting and sharing different ideas. And like it was said, content creation is a very lonely thing. And so being able to connect with people that do the same thing and just reciprocate that energy is definitely a good feeling.
Well, there
You need to connect with people. Sorry, I would just say what he said. It's pretty neat to connect with. If you think about it, we're all connecting with. We have this bond, but yet we're all doing for the most part, totally different things.
Yeah.
But yet we have this one bond in common. So that is pretty neat. I don't think you see that in other areas of life.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe here and there, but that's pretty cool.
Well, and yes, and so many ideas just flow when you get around a room full of creative people. So like I came back on fire with so many new ideas of things I could do.
Well, I'll just add on top of that, Tim, we'll go to the next question. But I definitely can relate to that. This was after the summit when we were just kind of hanging out. But when me and Roberta were talking, and Kelly and Yuli were present for this, but he kind of re-inspired me to get back to doing the Financial Freedom Fridays that I did on the Side Hustler Society. Because I stopped doing them because this whole invalid traffic glitch is going on YouTube, which has cut ad revenue in half. And he just kind of told me, like, he brought up something I kind of forgot. He's like, Elijah, like, you make like 80% of your income off of YouTube. So the money doesn't matter in terms of what YouTube's paying you. It can be conduits to market other products and serve your community. So you should still do it. You should start it back up. And he had a point. Then I just started getting inspired about, okay, so what's the next one going to be? The next Financial Freedom Friday I'm going to talk about the gig economy. Then the one after that, I'm going to talk about YouTube. And then the creativity starts to reflow because they've been stagnated because of BS that was going on. So, yeah. But, yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the next question. So when we do this question, I'm going to ask y'all to shout out your YouTube channels because we do want to spread some awareness. And Dejan, I know you haven't started your channel yet. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can shout out your
That's correct. I'm on it right now, boss. But I am. You can find me on Instagram and on all socials at Sounds by Dejan. On Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat. And I'm also working on my website. That's what I want to push out first. My website as my main branding tool, and then follow up with YouTube, because with my YouTube, I want to educate. I want to educate people on audio and frequency as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you're doing it in the right order. I think too many people start YouTube first and have to do all this other stuff. Yeah, especially with the website. But sticking with you, what advice would you give to someone who's considering going to VidSummit next year? Like, let's say they're going to get their ticket. What advice would you give to them when it comes?
Come with an open mind. Honestly, come with an open mind. Come ready to not only produce but also receive energy, so to speak. Just networking with different people, attending different events. Come ready to learn. Come with a notepad too, because it's going to be a lot of stuff that you gonna want to write down and remember. A lot of contacts as well. Come with some contact cards ready, preferably business cards or digital contact cards, and just prepare to have fun, because it was definitely a good adventure. But I could also say one thing that will make the next one even greater is if they add those vegan options as well. Because I myself am a vegan too, and so it was kind of hard to just be walking around and just like there's no healthy vegan alternative options. But overall, I definitely had fun, and I look forward to next year. I'm gonna be at next year's VidSummit.
Save that feedback because I am going to ask that question later. But it's funny, we didn't find out we were both vegan until like the last day of the event, despite us meeting the first day.
Yes, that part. That was definitely. I was like, wait, nah, you lied. Vegan for 12 years? That's dedication for sure. That makes me happy as a fellow vegan for sure. Because it's not a lot of us.
Oh, we're growing in population. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
All right, Kelly. So you want to shout out your YouTube channel and what's it about?
Oh, yes. This is about my YouTube channel is my love letter to books, because when I thought about something creative to do, I wanted it to inspire me to read more, because it's my favorite thing to do. And I think sometimes we kind of feel guilty about doing something we love so much. So this is my way to incorporate a lot of different learning new skills like video recording, video editing, because I'm actually an accountant by trade. So this is not what I went to school for. And then just to be able to encourage and inspire me to read more and to share that love with other people. So coming into VidSummit, I didn't actually have a plan until an hour before we were going to go to the meet and greet. And I was inspired by Lauren. So Yuli was here for this. So our friend asked us, how do you want to ROI this event? And I just thought, oh, I showed up. Like, this is me. This is me ROIing my event to see you beautiful people. But actually, a better way to think about it is to actually have a quantifiable goal. All these things we learn in business, but it's hard to think how to apply them to our lives in that moment. And so what Lauren and I did is we actually kind of came up with a hit list per se. And so VidSummit has this Hoover app. And so over 2,000 people are on this app, and you get to do filters for what interests you, what your shared interests are, kind of like background of who you want to meet. And so my thought process was, coming from LA, like, wouldn't it be so beautiful if I met more people who I could see in person and have this energy with throughout the year. And so I filtered for people in Los Angeles, kind of jotted down some notes of who I'd like to meet, what we could talk about. And I actually came up and probably met 25% of the people. And that really inspired me to think more strategically. And I believe that I ROI'd my event. So I think it's just about planning with intention too.
Okay. And you mentioned Lauren. So I do want to shout out Lauren's company, Mongoose Media. She wanted to join, but unfortunately, she's literally on a flight right now. That's why she couldn't join. But she did do a VidSummit review herself, and it's on her YouTube channel and Facebook. And to be honest, she agrees with me on a lot of points, but she takes it in a different direction that I'm not going to cover here. I think it's actually pretty valid. So definitely go check out her review, because she brings up a very valid point. But she basically talks about the speakers and how, in her personal opinion, they were better last year in terms of who they got. But she does go into more detail on that. And for the podcast listeners, y'all may actually recognize that name. We did have Lauren on the podcast where we talked about her company, Mongoose Media. So we'll be sure to leave a link to that podcast in the description. It's one of our more fun and informative episodes for sure. She gave me a lot of Instagram hacks, because I'm not the biggest fan of Instagram, to be honest. But she showed me a lot of techniques that you can use to really leverage it for your business. So oh, no, go ahead, Kelly. What's on your mind?
No, my question is, did you incorporate them and did they work? Is that why you always have a song playing now on Instagram?
Well, for the record, I think I was doing that before VidSummit last year, but she did kind of inspire me for every Sunday and Wednesday. The Side Hustle Society has a song, and then it links back to the website or newest video or something like that. So yeah, she did inspire me in that regard. It's too bad I don't think David's gonna be able to make it, but he's huge into astrology. But there's actually an astrology reason why I do that for Sundays and Wednesdays. I'll just say it briefly, then I'll move on. But yeah, in my natal chart in astrology, I have Aries in the second house. The second house deals with generating wealth, and the seventh house deals with partnerships. And I have Virgo and Leo in the seventh house, and I make a lot of money via partnerships. And the days that rule the signs that rule Wednesday and Sunday are Mercury and the Sun, and they actually line up. That's why those are the days I do that post, and it tends to get the most views. That's getting more into the subtle arts, so I'm not gonna dive heavy into that. Man, it sucks that David's not here. We'd have a whole conversation about that. But yeah, Yuli, how about you shout your channel out? And I know you're doing some new stuff on your channel, right? Because podcast listeners will remember that, and it was one of my most popular episodes. You've been on the podcast before where we talked about Turo.
Yes, which I still haven't seen myself because I was terrified to watch it because it was my first podcast ever. So
You
it's
were
good to hear
great.
you're doing good.
You did good.
Um, yeah, so I mean the channel is it's really a tech channel. I'm a computer engineer, but I've been in the
Wait,
legal
shout it out.
business.
Like, what's the name of the channel for audio
So
listeners?
it's engineer your life, and it's engineer your life. And yeah, if you go on now, basically what I did was I started posting videos last year. I've only done a few videos, got monetized in a few months last year. So I started doing the Turo videos because it's just a side gig I was doing. And I was like, hey, there's a lot of information I can share here. I can help people optimize their Turo business. So I did it and it did really well. And I was like, oh, I could probably keep these videos going. It could probably get me monetized. So that's what I did. And now I'm starting to finally pivot, not pivot because this will stay as a bucket. Because really it's, I want to do a bucket on helping content creators from a tech perspective. Um, then helping, so it's just different businesses, really all the things that I would be teaching and sharing can be applied to any business, obviously. So now I'm starting to kind of incorporate, like I've been working on an app to help manage my Turo business. So I'm starting to put some of those videos out. Also some videos about like dashboards and things like that. But really it's basically just sharing my knowledge from 20 plus years of and my engineering background to help you optimize your whatever it is, your business, your personal life, how to automate. I have like my entire life automated all my emails, all my bills, all my like everything. If I have to do something more than once, it gets automated. Like, so yeah, so it's basically, I'm still trying to narrow it down to make sure I'm just not all over the place. But I'm thinking of doing like memberships where we get on weekly calls and people come on and say, hey, I own this business and I'm struggling. I have these 2 employees, 3 employees that are working on these crazy reports and it takes them 3 days. It's like, well, yeah, we can get your report automated and it'll be done in a click of a button. And you're just refreshing your data. So things like that. That's really what I love to do. I love to just solve complex problems. Like, what's your problem? I got it. And so hopefully I can start um I can start kicking some videos out now that, went to VidSummit, got all excited again. Um so yeah, and in terms of VidSummit, I would say this year I probably didn't follow this advice because I was also very stressed. I left corporate um for the first time in 22-ish years in October of last year, and so I've been trying to do my own thing. So in the meantime, I've been trying to just I've been trying to just do side, freelance. Like in my case, I've done finance also. So I'm doing like bookkeeping on the side until I can start doing some tech consulting. But at least the bookkeeping is a little bit more recurring. So so I started doing that. And so unfortunately I had some deadlines, some IRS deadlines during VidSummit. So I actually lost like the whole like first, second day, and that kind of threw me off. And so I tried to make the best of it. But the main thing I would say is that I've always been an introvert, and so I know there's a lot of people that are hesitant to go. Yes, I just want to be behind my computer. um, and so I would say, just really make it a point to try to talk to people. I did go up to a few people, but that's only because I recognized them from, I went up to Silicon Valley Girl because I've seen her. Last year I spoke to Nick Nimmin. So I went up to people that I knew just because, when are you ever going to get to talk to these people in person, right? But then just go up to other random people. You'll be surprised what amazing relationships and friendships you can and partnerships, you can run into by like just talking to random people. And the nice thing is that everybody there is so willing to talk. I actually had the people I actually met that I didn't know just came up to me. So at the very least, if you're not going to go up to people, at least have a friendly face maybe so people can approach you. Try to do that at the very least if you're scared of going up to but it is really nice. It is really nice to just talk to different people, hear what they have to say, what they're doing, and then share yours. And I feel once you get that going, you'll really get more and more comfortable, and that's when you can really make the best of VidSummit.
Oh, great advice. I guess I have the answer to a puzzle now. That's why you were hitting the dance floor so hard. You had some stress to get out, huh?
No, actually, I love music. So
Well, yeah.
that, yeah.
Okay. All right, G-Wiz. So, how about you shout your channel out for us?
All right, so my channel is the official G-Wiz, and it is. I help creatives focus, but I'm seeing that is such a small piece of a bigger puzzle, because I've rebranded myself here recently as the fun coach, and what I want to do is to help people have fun again. You know, there's this need to think that, sorry, my voice is going out. There's this need to think that if you're doing business, it can't be fun. And if you're, an adult, you have to be serious. And the thing I've found I'm an extrovert. I'm actually, people have called me the people whisperer, the introvert whisperer. I always have a group of introverts around me at these events, and I'm the voice for them. And I love that. My wife's an introvert. She's helped me to understand introverts better and how not to drain them. There's David. So I had an idea for a YouTube game show. I don't think there's such a thing, but I'm so excited about the concept because it would allow coaches. So the premise is, so you think you can coach, and I would have coaches paired with ideal clients, but they get the chance to prove that they can coach, and they pay to come on the show. And then we, there's like segments. And so they can, I don't know. I won't go into too much detail. It's just so many ideas have come from just being at VidSummit and the things that are possible. Like if you have something that you've thought about doing and then you see someone doing something that they love on YouTube, like it just lets you know that you don't have to be like this person, or you don't have to do this thing this specific way. You can actually be you, right? It's YouTube. And imagine that. I love what you said too, Yuli. You said, I like to automate my life. And there's 3 things that'll make your life better. It's automation, delegation, and compound interest. And compound interest doesn't just deal with finance. Elijah knows this. Compound interest is just that 1% you do better every day, and it compounds over time. You get to get better over time. So my channel started with just like empowerment, music to empower people. And for some reason, it's hard for me to see the value in what I do when it's just empowerment, because I'm like, well, I can empower people for free, or I can empower people. And like, how do I set myself apart from the Tony Robbins and the Brendan Burchards and Mel Robbins and of the world, all these other motivational speakers? Well, the value is in being you, right? And being me. That's the value for all of us on this call, is like, there's no one like us. There's never going to be anyone like us. There's no one that's going to explain or break down or have the same energy as us when it comes to these things that we do, or these things that we are passionate about. And they don't have the same background or experience as we do. So it's imperative. There's a group of people in this world that have our names written backwards on their heads, and no one else can get through to them. I don't know if you've ever had this experience where your spouse or your friend or your mom or someone has told you something over and over again, and then some random stranger you met at VidSummit says that same thing, and it all comes together. And if you go tell your spouse or your friend or your mom about this thing, they're like, that's what I said. Sometimes it just takes that person to fit the puzzle piece in. And I want to encourage anyone that's like either wanting to start a YouTube channel, or us here on this call, if you feel like you're not enough, remember that you are the only person that can get through to your audience. So
nice. And what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about going to VidSummit next year, or someone who is going to VidSummit? When they get there, what do you feel that they should do?
Bring a backpack. In that backpack, you have to have at least 4 things: a charger, a brick that charges when you can't find a plug. So like a little, and like not like those little things that get really heavy duty backup battery. Because if you're like me, you're going to get a lot of pictures. You're going to try to do interviews, get you a lavalier mic that can have at least 2 people, and get ready to interview people on the spot, because I've been overthinking getting each of you on the phone to do interviews or getting each of you on a YouTube like live stream or doing my review. Take action immediately. And that notebook that Dejan talked about, like, I can't tell you how many pictures I'm going through and I'm like, crap, I waited so long, I forgot this person's name. And I never forget names, but I've waited so long and overthought it for so long that there's some people that just slip my memory. And if you have an iPhone, like, after you take a picture with someone, swipe up, take notes. Who is that person and what do they do? Because if you don't have a notepad, that's there for you. If you don't have a physical notepad, use your phone. Follow up immediately. Make sure that you start those conversations with the people you meet. And let's see. Like Kelly said, the ROI, what is going to be the return on your investment? You invested $1,000 in yourself to come to VidSummit. So what are you going to turn that $1,000 into? Is it going to be 10,000? Is it going to be 100,000? Is it going to be $1 million? Like, what is the value of the connections you make? And I think that if you go and you want to watch if you want to sit in and watch the, what do you call them, the sessions when people speak, you can do that on YouTube at any time. You can pull up these things at any time. You can buy the replays afterwards, or I think they come with like your ticket.
They come with the ticket, so yeah.
Yeah, so you can get that later. When I sat down, there was only one person next to me that I could speak to at that time, and I can't speak to them during the session. So at least I can get their YouTube and subscribe to them and maybe trade contacts, but I can't go as deep. When I was in the hallways floating around, that's when all the magic was happening. So definitely be out in the hallways. Did I mention the 4th thing you'd have to have? Get your YouTube or your like Blink or Popple, whatever your digital business card is, get that QR code and put it on your screensaver so that you can easily connect with people. So you're not fumbling through your phone. Introverts, you know what I'm talking about. Oh my God, I'm like failing at life because I can't find my QR code on my phone fast enough for this person to connect with me. Just put it on your screensaver. It makes it so much easier. Nice. And business cards for the people that need that physical.
Hey, that's my tactic. My QR code's on the business card, and some people just take a picture of the business card. I do have some advice for because what he mentioned as far as if you're heavy networking, it's going to happen eventually. You're going to forget someone's name.
Yeah.
I do have something to help me with that early on in my life. So when you're conversating with people, I make it a habit to use the person's name as much as possible during our first interaction in an organic way. So a conversation, naturally carries on, right? Yeah. And then when it comes up, when you ask them a question, just use their name before you ask the question. So Malcolm, such and such. So Jenny, such and such. And once you've used it 5 to 10 times, that's usually when it clicks in your head. Okay, I've attached a face to the name, so as long as I see you, the name's gonna pop up.
Yeah. So I want to add to that. That's an excellent strategy. The other part of that is don't continue to say I'm bad with names, because you're just manifesting something on yourself that is not true. You're great with names. You're bad with recall. And the way to help you with recall is to continue to use that person's name. Now, the people that I used their name a lot or kept running into them or kept having conversations with them, those stuck. It was the people I met on a whim that I didn't get to go really deep with or repeat their names. It was just like towards the end, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to connect with more people. Those are the ones that they kind of slipped away because we didn't get as deep into conversation. So the other thing is go a little deeper with your conversations.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know for the people that are watching right now, you got David on here. It seems random, but we finally got him on. We were talking about astrology. I messaged him because I'm like, he can get on. He can get on. We need your astrology expertise, David.
Well, first of all, I apologize for it being dark. That's number one. Listen, what's good, everyone? Hope all is well. Sending y'all so much positive energy. Yes, you already know I'm an astrologer. I didn't talk to Elijah and Greg for a minute, and Dijon. I didn't talk to you. Already know we talked the whole weekend. The Vid Summit was definitely fire. It's definitely about networking though. Like you know, Greg and them said, Greg and Elijah, and I'm pretty sure the majority of you said as well. Like you can rewatch the speakers later, you know, respectfully, but you really can't replace that physical connection that you make with people. You know, we're still kind of fresh out of COVID to a degree, right? Right. And when we get that physical connection, you know, that physical connection is really significant because again, you connect with people at a more intimate level. So yeah, man, I'm your astrologer. With that being said, what is good?
Well, how about we follow up on that? How about you shout out your YouTube channel? Like, what do you call it on YouTube?
My YouTube channel, again, my apologies. I'm kind of like doing multiple things at once. But my YouTube channel is Cosmo Astrology, COSMOSTROLGOY. I didn't spell it so much for people. I literally can do it so fast. I'm telling you, it's crazy. But yeah, I do a lot of astrology. I have my own business. It's called Applied Ascension, and I utilize astrology along with human design, astronomy, which is fixed stars. I do tarot as well, tarot card reading, and a lot of these things, numerology. I'm learning a lot of numerology as well to really help people ascend and connect with their higher selves and truly step into their purpose and what they're here for. You know, to be completely honest, and on multiple levels. There's so many levels to this. So yeah, that's my channel. That's what I do. Also on Instagram at SHS030.
Nice. Yeah, I remember when we got to talking, we ended up talking to about astrology for like an hour. A lot of people don't know that astrology is actually pretty big in my life. It's in the background. I don't really talk about it that much. But yeah, I have my whole natal chart memorized in both the tropical, the Vedic or Hindu astrology, and also the Bazi, the Chinese astrology. But yeah, that might be something I might start incorporating into my content to a small degree, just as I don't know, audience. Let me know what y'all think about that. If y'all want that, drop it in the comment section. But yeah, I suppose we can go ahead and go on to the next question. We've been pretty crazy of VidSummit so far, and that's great. But with just bringing some balance to the equation, there's always room for improvement. So now I'm going to ask everyone, like in general, well, what do they feel that VidSummit can improve on in 2025? Dijon, what would be your answer to that question? What do you feel they can improve
on? Just run off the top
because we both bashed that in.
Okay. Yeah, okay. For sure. Running off the top, the location was good. The bookings, the shops they had was cool. Some more shops would have been cool too. I don't want to say vegan options, but so let's just kind of taper over that. But that would be cool as well. The scheduling of the seminars definitely could have helped. Because I know they had like very important seminars stacked on top of each other. So it was the most important things about thumbnails on the first floor, and then the second floor it was the same thing but more in depth. And I just wish that they could have kind of like staggered that out a little bit, so an individual that was really interested in that topic would have been able to attend one, then the next 25 minutes later kind of just rest, recover, and then another seminar, and then so on and so forth, and just soak up everything that they needed to do, or soak up everything that they came to understand. Other than that, the event was cool that they had on the first official day of VidSummit. I would have liked a repeat of that, or even just a reoccurring thing on every day of the event. It would have been very cool to just keep connecting. And I know the DJ they had there was playing some questionable stuff, so if they could reshuffle that playlist.
Look, I gotta jump on this one right here, bro.
Because I need you to defend me. Some people on this call don't agree with me that music was fruity.
Yeah.
The after party, listen, it's cool. If y'all want to have a party, cool. But why have a party with kids? What's the point? I'm like, look, y'all know this ain't my type of party out here playing Britney Spears and shit. Like,
Yeah.
listen, man, it's no shade, but don't do. And then it was the last party for me. It's like, how y'all gonna make the last party with kids? Who does that? Who
I
made
remember,
this decision?
I remember you and me literally looked at each other, in that club. We were like, yeah, this cool now. We ain't about to hit that dance floor. It's like an unsaid thing. We didn't even have to say it.
Yeah. Like, they really,
Bro,
it's really coming through the speakers right now. Like, you see it?
look,
Not illusion.
people thought I was playing too because I didn't wait in that line. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I didn't jip like 75% of that line. I would have been so mad if I would have stood in that line, got in there, and heard that music. Do you understand? There's not an astrology chart in the world that would have stopped me from going off on Twitter. Like that was crazy.
Sure.
Well, I give them props for having the after party. First time doing it, learning experience. Let's see what they do next year. Let's just see what they do. Maybe they can have a friendly, a family friendly party one day. Then the last after party, have it really, we can really get down. Maybe that's something to consider. But yeah, Dijon, did you have anything else you wanted to add as far as like things you feel like they can improve on?
I also really adamant on that extra day and staggering out the days, so it's not one day after the next Because one thing I noticed is on the last day or so, people were just drained of just of connecting, and so the energy felt different. And it kind of was harder to connect with people on an energy basis, just because we've been doing that for the last days, like consecutively meeting people. I know I've met probably like 25, or I would even say 40% of the people I met. I really can't remember their names. I'd have to go through like my contact sheet and just to just try to like reconnect with them and remember it, like you say, put a face to the name. And that's one thing I also want to incorporate, that strategy you said, to keep saying their name so that it then gets remembered. But yeah, I feel like if they staggered the days out and added an extra day, that would have definitely made it more impactful.
Okay. Cool. So Kelly, what do you feel like they can improve on?
I was just gonna say the logistics behind the after party. I think no one knew what was going on, and everyone came in at such different times because the lines were so long.
Yeah, it definitely felt like word of mouth, for me at least.
I kind of feel guilty because that line, I didn't experience most of it. I was negotiating with that sponsor I told y'all about for most of it. Then I came, and then the line was pretty much almost finished at that point. But I saw what it was. I would be kind of pissed off if I had to deal with that line, particularly like in a club setting. I'm not gonna lie, I have a VIP mentality. This line bullshit is not. No, I would just pay to be a VIP and get in. That's just me.
But we were still in line.
But yeah.
But our line was still like 30 minutes. I mean, and I was like, come on, Elijah, you only cut like 15 people. But we were still in there for like 30 minutes.
Was it really 30 minutes? It seemed more
maybe
like
20.
Yeah.
Maybe 20. And we had already been there like 7 minutes, I think, before you got there. 5-7 minutes.
And we were in Texas. You feel me? Like Texas.
Yeah, hot as hell, huh?
Hey, not too much now.
Well, I agree, Kelly. The arranging of the party. I'm gonna give them a break because it was their first year. Just like last year, the line to the actual VidSummit registration was out the door. So maybe it's a first time kind of thing, but they could streamline it next year better. But yeah, David, how do you feel like VidSummit can improve for 2025?
How do I feel? This was my first year. Okay. Definitely could have spaced it out a little bit more because, when you're listening to speakers so much, at a certain point, you just kind of stop paying attention as much. So they definitely could space it out some more. The logistics definitely need some work. And, I'm going to just talk about the obvious. I personally didn't go there for specifically Mr. Beast, but, they kind of lied about that. Like, hey, he's going to be here. And then people got to the event and he wasn't there. So That's a thing too. I mean, granted, what's going on. We kind of know to a degree what's going on, so I understand. But so far those are pretty much my things. Again, the partying, not the partying, but the music. They definitely didn't think about everybody. Um, but again, the networking, the networking was really the key for me. Some of the speakers were really good. I really enjoyed. I can't remember his last name, but his first name was John. Obviously, Roberto was really good, and people along those lines. So it really wasn't too bad for me. I don't have that many complaints about it, but I do feel the small things are noticeable. It is the best way to put it for me.
Okay. So Yuli, what do you feel like they can do better for 2025?
So first, I just want to say that, like you said, they really are like making it better each time. Each iteration is like better and better. Like last year, we almost all died with no water when we were eating our food. We couldn't find water we were trying to get our drink tickets just to get water, and we still couldn't like make it in line because everybody was trying to get drinks and water at the same time. It was awful. But this year they took notice. They just did not anticipate that last year, and so this year, there were, soda stations in every corner. You could just grab a soda. We still didn't see water bottles you can grab, but maybe that was just us, right, Kelly? But they definitely, improved that aspect. So I feel like they keep making improvements. So at least that's the good part. I guess the one thing is probably just maybe making more use of that first day, not making it just a registration at the end of the day, maybe making it like a full day, register in the morning and then have a full day. That way you're flying out there, you're spending at least 3 days and not just really 2 of seminars. Just make the best out of everybody's like travel expenses, you know. So that's pretty much it. And then just to add on to the last thing we were talking about, I just want to say briefly that the one good thing that everybody should definitely use is what Kelly said, and I think maybe someone else mentioned it, is the app. That's definitely it. It's definitely a great resource, and they do, yeah, and they seems like they do keep building on it. But you basically open the app and you can see everybody that's going to attend, so you can actually see, all of the, whether they're a small YouTuber or like a huge YouTuber, they're on there, and you can like bookmark them. You can send them a message. Hey, I'd love to chat with you at some point. When are you most free? And you can just keep these people bookmarked. You can also add notes. So if you do meet them, I think you can add some notes to them. I think you probably add a picture. You can take like a selfie. Now you know their name and their, and remember their face. So definitely that app is really, really valuable. So I just wanted to add that to our last question.
Good point. I underutilized that app, to be honest. I only found out about it this time. I was on it last year, but I didn't know about the meetups. And come to find out that people were messaging me, and I didn't even realize it. Then this year, I found out about the meetups halfway through the event and went to a few of them. So yeah, that's if you use it right, obviously the day will end like at 7 or 8 o'clock or whatever when the seminar is in for that day. But if you're not going out to eat with like some group or something, just check that app, and there's probably some meetup somewhere you can attend that would benefit you. So yeah.
Well, and it also has an awesome feature that you can actually plan out your entire. So it lets you say, I'm going to this event, and it actually gives you reminders. So that's what we did last year. This year not so much, because this year we focused more on like networking. But last year, Kelly and I had like the entire itinerary. We looked through everything, and you get to right in the app. You get to say, I'm going to this one. I'm going to this one. I'm going to this one, and you have it all planned out, and it'll just keep reminding you, hey, 5 minutes, whatever you choose, 15 minutes. So it's a nice way to. And then there's also, even, I think they added this year a feature where it's like, what's happening now? That way you don't even have to, let's say you didn't plan for it and you're like, well, what's happening now? I just want to go somewhere like right this minute. You just go to the what's happening now, and it tells you exactly. So it even gives you a floor plan too, because I know some people are like, where the heck is this? So you can click on it, see the floor plan, exactly what room, where it's located. So it really is super valuable.
Okay. So G Wiz, what's your feedback on what they can improve on for next year?
So I'm a UX designer by trade. I was looking at the user experience the entire time. And that line in the very beginning in Texas, that's a no-no. Let us in, let us wait inside. That is evil. So that was the first thing. I heard you talk about the app, and I'm thinking that's amazing for introverts, but for people like me, I don't want to be on my phone at a networking event the whole time looking for things. And so like, even I had my phone off silent. I had my phone, on it doing things, but it wasn't notifying me, or if it was notifying me, I'm notification blind. I don't know about y'all, but like, I get so many notifications every day. I don't see any notifications anymore. So even if it reminded me that it was coming up in 5 minutes, 5 minutes stretched to an hour, and then the thing was over. So I think it's great if you're introverted. It's a great way for you to get over that fear of meeting with people or coming up to them in person. You set your meetup in the app, and then you go find them in a place, and then you do the weird thing that introverts do. I used to be introverted, so I'm not ragging on y'all. I get it. It's just awkward, peopling, but it's okay. And the introversion versus extroversion isn't about peopling versus not peopling. It's just how you recharge your battery. So I'm going off on a tangent. Things they could improve. Definitely the music, even though it was fruity and I can get down with it. Little more variety. There was a lot of people there from different walks of life, so there could have been a lot more variety with the music. Water, almost dying with the water. I could relate to that. I remember at one point I was talking so much I couldn't move my mouth anymore because there was no water to be found. And then when I finally found one of those water jugs on the roof, it was empty. So that was cruel and unusual punishment. The sessions, the timing of them, there were some that were happening at the same time, and so I felt like I had to choose. And they were happening on different floors, and you didn't really know. Like, there was ballroom 1 and 2, but on the signs up there wasn't a 1 or a 2. I had to kind of peek in, and then the sessions were running over, so I didn't know who was speaking or what. Probably better organization. Like in the very beginning when I got my name tag, I just paid $1,000, and not that like it matters because I'm there amongst the people and the name tag doesn't matter. But when I got my name tag, it was blank and they put a sticker on it, and it took like an hour or two to get my name tag, and I had to give them my license, and then they disappeared with my license. Oh. And she was great with the lady that took care of me, Sarah. She was great with taking care of me, but like when I kept seeing her walk by me without my license and just kind of not mentioning me, and then I finally catch her and she's like, oh yeah, one of these people at the table have your license. So I had to wait in all 3 lines to see which person had my license and which person had my tag. So after all of that and finally getting my name tag without my name on it, it was kind of like, that's not a good start to this experience. I hope it gets better, right? But it's really thinking through. I hope that they can think through how people are going to experience it. And if they're looking for a designer that can help them map out this process from beginning to end and do the customer journey of how these people feel at the different parts, I'd be happy to get on that team, that planning team. Shameless plug.
Well, I just want to say you can definitely reach out to Daryl. They're always looking for volunteers. So if you wanted to volunteer, that would be a way to kind of, hey, I can volunteer some design. Okay.
Tips. I did not know that. See, that's another thing. I was a little disappointed that, I start reading this. This, don't judge me. This one's not open. The other one that's open here. I'm reading it. I promise. This one's still closed. This one's open. Started reading the YouTube formula. That's what got me in the whole VidSummit. It came up in my feed. I'd never heard of it before. And I never got to meet Daryl. I didn't see him in the halls anywhere. I got a little sad I didn't get to meet Tom Bilyeu. I was fanning out. Of all the people there, that was the one I fanned out on because I watched his stuff for years. Like he's great at getting people to think differently. Let's see, other improvements.
While you think of more improvements, the name tag thing, David had to drop off, but it's ironic because he actually saw this. Dijon might have saw some of it too. He heard me complain about it. But I bought my ticket a few weeks ahead of time instead of a few months this year. And I got that sticker on my name tag too. I was like, look, this ain't gonna fly. But you gotta squint to see my name, Elijah. So I still had my previous name tag from last year, and I swapped those bad boys, and no one even noticed. But my name is big bold letters. Like maybe I'm cocky, but hey, I want you to know I'm Elijah, and I want to see your name too. And some people I would have to squint. I didn't like the fact I had to squint for them, but it's damn sure not about to happen to me. So I just swapped them out. But regardless, when you get your ticket, I don't like the sticker thing. They need to do what they need to do to get everyone's name laminated on the tag. But go ahead, you Wiz. Did you have any?
That was it. As far as maybe like I know print media costs a lot. There was like 3, maybe 4,000, close to 4,000 people at that event. So printing out a schedule that they can actually tangibly have, it's probably not cost effective. That's why the app was there. I think the app could be designed a little better to know where things are and what's happening and when, because I felt like it was all over the place for me to figure out where things were. I didn't know there were booths on the 3rd and 4th floor where you could visit, so I didn't get to visit all the booths. I did buy the YouTube formula, so I have it on Audible, and then I bought it because the guy said he would send me a copy after I saw people walking around with it. I'm like, where'd you get it? They're like, they're giving it away on the 4th floor. By the time I got through peopling and got there, they'd given them all away. So I'm like, I bought it, and then they actually sent me the free version. So now I have 2. I'm going to gift this to someone because this right here can change your life for the rest of your life if you use what's in it. Y'all know this. Your YouTube channels are growing, and you're making the impact you need to make for your audience. And I'm trying to get on y'all's level, man.
Nice. Okay. Well, we only have one more question because we don't want to go over the 2-hour mark. But my last question for everyone would be, and if you were full networking the whole time, then feel free to skip this question. But what was your favorite presentation that you saw at VidSummit, and how did it impact you as a creator or your business? We'll start with you, Dijon.
One of the most important ones I saw was the Daryl Eves one, when he was talking about ways to get your audience to engage with you and ways to build your community for your audience to engage with you. And that's important to me because that's one thing I think about when in preparation for my channel, like I say with my website and with my YouTube. And I'm thinking about doing courses on my website as well, and having a community for fellow audiophiles, engineers, producers to collaborate and communicate amongst each other. So attending that seminar was beneficial. I know I got pictures of damn near every slide, and I'm gonna go back and watch that replay with my notepad and do some due diligence on that, as well as some other ones. So that was really the only one I was able to completely attend, because the other half of the entire event week I was in the hallway networking with people. But yeah, that was a good seminar for sure, that Daryl Eves. Let me hit it live.
All right. Kelly, how about you? What was your favorite presentation of VidSummit?
I really like the cybersecurity hack for the YouTube channel. I think it meant something to me because I knew a YouTuber who got hacked. So he had shown that he had left QR codes and a lot of different ways to get people's YouTube channels. And there was more than like 10 or 20 people who definitely could have gotten their YouTube channel like hacked right away just by doing things that you don't think about, thinking that you're special, that you got a special email and you're the only person. You just need to log into your Google account. And the second takeaway I got out of that was not to save so many passwords for sites that are very like critical, just to always, even though we have so many different passwords for so many different things, just to like re-log in and just secure yourself more. Or I'm sure there's more methods around that, but it definitely scared me enough just to be careful what I sign into and where I think I sign into like my financials and my YouTube account, my Gmail, because everything's connected.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my favorite presentation last year. I didn't go to it this year because I had already seen it. But yeah. After I heard that, if I ever logged in like at a Starbucks or anywhere well, I had a phobia doing it first off. I actually thought about just buying one of those flash drives that has self-contained internet. But since I didn't do that, if I logged into anything, or even if I didn't, I would just delete my cookies for that session once I got home, so a new token can be generated. And if someone did have the information, that would drop them off. And that was a good habit that I started because he scared the hell out of me. I'm glad he did. 'Cause I'm subscribed to a lot of channels that have gotten hacked. And they eventually get it back, but it can be months later and the damage is already done. I've seen crypto scams being uploaded, and then oh my God, they got hacked. I unsubscribe. Then I check on them a few months later, and they've gotten it back. But like the damage is already done. Their ad revenue's been reduced in half, and half their audience has unsubscribed because they know they probably got hacked. So Yuli, what was your favorite? If I remember right, you told me, unless you pick a different favorite, but it was talk about the membership website, right? Or just memberships in general?
Yep. And before I mention that, I just want to say one of the videos I'm actually going to be working on soon has to do with securing yourself on the internet overall. I'll probably go in depth a little bit into like on the content creator side, what tips to do when you're a content creator, which is basically what, whatever you gain from that seminar. Separate your emails. That's something basic. But one huge thing, on just like a social level, it's like teaching people how to remember, just always initiate, always be the initiator. If you just remember that, because there's so much information, don't do this, don't do that, just be the initiator, which means don't click on anything. Go to the website that you know is safe. Go to chase.com. Don't click on the link that you get for Chase. Don't call the number they give you. Go to the number that's on the back of your card or Google the number. If you need to hang up, somebody calls you, you hang up and you call them back at the number that you know is valid. So it's always just be the initiator. If you remember that, you should be good. And the other huge thing that I will mention in that video is password managers. They're huge. They are, because the one thing actually, Elijah, that you said about like logging into whatever, let's say, like you should never log into any important, maybe your Facebook, if but never like a bank or anything like that at a cafe or something, unless you're using a VPN. Because I could be sitting right next to you with my laptop, and it's not that you can kick me out, it's that I'm going to get your password and your username, because as soon as that comes through the network, I can grab it. So who cares that you like kick me off or whatever later on, or refresh. Like, I have your information. That's the key part. If you're sending that information while sitting in an unprotected on a public Wi-Fi, unless you're using like a VPN, which is encrypting your so. And then the other basic thing, and I'm sorry, I'm just going on a tangent, but this is one of like my biggest, like the other thing is password managers. If people knew how important, the main issue why people get hacked too is because they have the same password, because you could only possibly remember like 2 or 3 passwords, right? They have the same password for all 300 things they log into. So with a password manager, you have a super crazy, like generated password with all kinds of numbers. It could be 10, 15, 20, 30 digits long that the password manager is generating for you. You don't need to remember it. You just need to remember the one password. And that password you can have even like triple secured with like even like a hard key that you have that you plug into your laptop. You can do biometrics. So just remember one thing, because it helps so many. Now you have every single thing you log into with a different password, and a different password that would take forever to crack, because it's 30 random letters and numbers and symbols long, for example, as opposed to like my dog's name is, whatever. Like, so yeah, definitely password managers, a huge thing. So anyway, sorry, went off on a tangent, but yeah,
that's not a tangent. That's helpful.
Yeah, I think that if the hacker dude doesn't come back next year for whatever reason, you should take a spot at VidSummit next year.
If I've made enough videos. Let's see if I can get on a nice little roll. No, so I think, yeah, the one I had mentioned was the J Klaus, and it was really cool because it was actually like I've already, like I said, I've learned so many other things, the thumbnails and the this and that, and one thing that I hadn't yet gotten into is learning about memberships. And so his thing was called Driving Big Revenue with a Small Membership. And he talked about like how he got going and I mean, it's funny because I remember being next to someone and saying I had just left another seminar, and it wasn't last year. I really loved a lot of them. This one was kind of, I wasn't thrilled. And so then sitting in Jay's seminar, I was shocked, I guess, at the difference from the one I had just seen. But it was like every sentence, he gave you such value in every sentence. If you guys haven't seen it, you definitely should see it. He talks super in depth about how to price your memberships, who your audience is, what what to include, what not to include. Sometimes it's better to do like an annual membership and why, as opposed to like a monthly. It's like, why give people 12 opportunities to decide if they want to keep you or not, as opposed to one? So you do an annual membership discounted. And I was like, wow, I hadn't thought about that. Like, so it was so valuable. So if there's anyone that's thinking of maybe starting a membership, where if you think about it, people think, oh, I want to have like a million subscribers. But if you think about it, if you have 100 people paying you $30, $40 a month because you're really providing them some value, think about what that is a month, how much you're bringing in a month, and how little of a community that is. So if anybody is really thinking about memberships, definitely check out the Jay Clow's his seminar. It's called Driving Big Revenue with a Small Membership. It was super awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that one out.
Yeah. I definitely agree. To be honest, Roberto has successfully like beat me down over the past few years, because I used to be anti-membership because it's active income. I was like 100% like passive. Like, it's about the courses, it's about the digital products, and like memberships. I see it as something that's active. Some people set it up passive, but in my opinion, if you're gonna do it right and really serve the community, it needs to be active, it needs to be good on weekly, stuff like that. And he's great. He's gradually sold me on the benefits of it. And yeah, I think that's something that definitely should be checked out, especially since they focused on it at VidSummit. I don't think that was covered last year anywhere. So I'm glad it was covered this year. But I think that's the direction that a lot of creators realistically should go if they want to go full time and make a living.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, it goes without saying, Roberto Blake has a ton of information on it. He has a ton of live streams where he goes really in depth into it. So.
Right. So, gee whiz. I know you lived in the hallways, but the few presentations you attended, like, what was your favorite?
So mine, the two that I attended that I actually got to listen to from beginning to end were Hope Scope, where she went through the 9 eras of her YouTube channel, which I thought was, even though you'll never catch me in leggings, I said you'll never catch me in leggings. Unless you come to my yoga class in the morning. No, I love that she showed the ups and the downs and what happened emotionally, and where like she tried different things. She failed. She tried again. She didn't give up. She was a student of the data. Like, she really realized that we're not making content for bots. We're making content for people. And so we got to listen to our people. They'll tell us exactly what they need and what they want. That made me want to go back and look at my first YouTube videos, because I remember when I first started, I had engagement and questions from people, and that inspired the next video. But I didn't keep up that momentum, and so I lost traction. And just like, you know what? Let's start over. Can always start over. That's what I learned from hers. And then Tom, with the doom and gloom about AI coming and, you know, the world's going to change, it was unsettling but necessary. I think that we have to remember that when the print press came along, we weren't here for that. But we were here for the internet, most of us, right? We're here for when that change happened and everyone was like, the internet? What's the internet? I don't even have an email. I'll never have an email. And now that is the only way that you can connect with everyone. And that's the main way for marketing. So that one really kind of hit home, because it's reminding me to be mindful of where the world is going. And this is really an opportunity the first ever opportunity in the world where everyone can literally make money online being themselves. There's never been an opportunity with so much possibility of upward momentum as now with YouTube. And like, if we don't hop on this train now, I don't know what's coming, especially with the fact that in just a year and a half, AI has gotten so good that we went from the Will Smith weird spaghetti eating thing to like not being able to distinguish whether something's real or not. Like, you don't know if I'm AI right now and I programmed my answers to you with a deep fake, right? Like, you would never know. Okay, you would know. There's a human element. I would be saying unlock your potential and things like that if I was AI. You can always tell when it's AI. That was the only two I really... Oh, no. I'm kidding. Tyler, the creator's attorney. Not Tyler, the creator's attorney, but Tyler, the creator's attorney, Tyler Chow. That was incredible to know that there's not really... It's like the Wild West in content creation. There's no laws for content creation. They have to combine different laws. So I didn't see Brittany Rattel speaking on it, but I did see Tyler Chow. And those two are attorneys that offer so much value for people like us, so we don't get screwed in partnership deals or sponsorships and things like that. The other one I got to catch the tail end of was Leela from YouTube, and the person she was speaking with, I didn't catch his name, but they were talking about Adobe Premiere Pro. They were talking about Adobe products, basically, and I used to work for Adobe. I hate Adobe products.
Like I said at the Veggie Outers meetup, if you got a chance to talk to Roberto, y'all still be talking from the summit. Adobe fanboys. Well, you used to work at Adobe, and he's an Adobe fanboy. Y'all would have a lot to talk about, but go ahead.
Well, because of Leela from YouTube and Roberto and all these people that are using it successfully, I'm like, you know what? I just need to take the Band-Aid off. I've been paying for Adobe for like 5 years, and I don't use it. That's ridiculous, because you know how much they cost a month. The only thing I use it for is Adobe Express, because it's intuitive, it's easy. And then there was someone else. It left me that fast.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
But what you could do is when it
happens to AI.
Error.
Back though, feel free to drop it in the comments.
Yeah.
404.
Right.
Comment not found.
But yeah, I guess we can go ahead and start wrapping things up. Does anyone have any final thoughts about VidSummit they want to drop before we go ahead and call the night and get something to eat, because I'm getting pretty hungry? I guess everyone's kind of quiet, so we're kind of chatted out. Fair enough. Well,
I can keep talking, so I'm just going to keep myself quiet so we can go eat.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I want to thank y'all for hopping on the panel, getting the chance to talk about VidSummit, because y'all have experiences that I can't have going to VidSummit, because we have different views. So the audience could really benefit from hearing different perspectives to those questions. Of course, if VidSummit people at VidSummit come across this, they can actually get some feedback on how they can keep improving. They've managed to keep improving without, in my opinion, any real feedback mechanism. So let them see this and it can get even better. But for all of y'all that are watching on all three of my channels, whichever one you're watching on, if you can give this video a thumbs up, greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Like I said, this is the end of season 1 of the podcast. When we come back for season 2, we'll be focusing on lead generation, so y'all can really start to get away from these gig apps like Uber, Lyft, and that kind of stuff, and start making some money with a trade or skill. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and get some dinner, and we'll catch y'all in the next show. Peace out, everyone.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.
This episode may be over, but your hustling journey has just started. Visit thesidehustlesociety.com to access all links and resources mentioned in the show that will help you on your hustler's journey.